Evening. I'd like to welcome you to the Yreka City Council meeting for November 18th, 2025. It is 5:31 and we are going to go into closed session. But before I do that, I will call for public comment. There is no public here. So I will move on to item number 3, which is the City Council will recess to closed session to discuss the following items. Item A is conference with legal counsel, potential litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D2, number of cases 1. And item B, which is the public employee employment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957 for the position of city manager. Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Yreka City Council meeting for November 18th at 2025. It is 6:36 p.m. and Councilmember Middleton, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The City Council met in closed session this evening. We came out at 6:20 with no reportable action. And will the clerk please take roll?
Good evening, Yreka City Council. Please let me know you are in attendance by saying aye. Councilmember Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember McCoy.
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton. Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Claire is absent.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. What are the wishes of the council?
Councilor Middleton, I'll move to approve as presented.
Councilman McCoy, I'll second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Middleton, second from Councilmember McCoy to approve the agenda as printed. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Aye.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So the motion passes with Mayor Pro Tem Claire absent. Public comment. Public participation is welcome and invited at all city council meetings. This time is set aside for residents to address the city council on matters listed on the consent agenda, as well as other items not included on the regular agenda. If your comments concern an item noted on the regular agenda, please address the council when that item is open for public comment. Please speak into the microphone from the podium. The podium electronically adjusts up and down to accommodate the speaker. Please address the council as a whole. Please state your name for the record prior to providing your comments, and please limit your remarks to 5 minutes. Do I have any public comment this evening? There's no public comment, so I'm going to move on to item number 9, which is the consent agenda. And all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and non-controversial and will be enacted by one motion unless any member of the council wishes to remove an item. So what are the wishes of the city council?
This is Councilman McCoy. I make the motion to adopt the consent agenda of the City Council of the City of Yreka as presented.
Councilman Middleton, I'll second.
I have a motion from Councilmember McCoy, second from Councilmember Middleton to adopt the consent agenda of the City Council of the City of Yreka as presented. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes with Mayor Pro Tem Claire absent. Item number 10, public hearings. I'm going to read the public hearing protocol. The public hearing protocol is the mayor will describe the purpose of the public hearing. City staff will provide the staff report. City staff will respond to questions from the city council. The mayor will then open the public hearing, and public wanting to comment can do so at that time. The mayor will close the public hearing, and then the city council will deliberate and act on the item. And we have our finance director here this evening for the Development Impact Fee Program.
Good evening, Council. Emily Aldrich, Finance Director. Before you today is our annual report out on our DIF fees. Every year, we are required to report out what we have collected and what we have used those DIF fees for. On November 16th of 2006, the City Council adopted Ordinance 790, establishing and implementing development impact fees as part and made in part of Title 11, Chapter 11.23. This ordinance has been amended twice, 795 and 799 for technical amendments and retitling. The last annual review of the capital improvement plan and accounting for DIF received and expended was last reported December 3rd, 2024. So I did pretty good. I'm earlier this year by one whole meeting. So as you all know, when development happens within the city, they are required to pay development impact fees. There's a number of different ones. There's water, sewer, water collection, wastewater collection, public buildings, parks, all of those wonderful things. For the most part, our DIF fees are being collected and used to pay off debt. For example, our public facilities is currently being used to pay off the fire station loan. So anything we collect goes directly to that to help subsidize. Additionally, we have the fire DIF fee that went into place not too long ago. We had collections on that. That would then be set aside to help fund future building of a fire hall. So the more development, the more fees we're able to collect, which is fabulous. Annually, we apply the CCI to the DIF to increase to go along with construction cost index. So those go up every January, as they will again. There's a resolution just adopting that we've reported out on this. No major changes were made to DIF fees in the last year. Do you have any questions?
Mr. McCoy, did you have any questions? Mr. Davis?
The diff fees that we had last year,
Mhm.
if I'm reading my paperwork right, it would be like, if I'm on page 36, it says fee per unit due. That would be the last time that was updated to that amount.
Can you show me which page you're looking at?
City buildings, park facilities, police department, fire department. That's 36 out of 50.
Yes.
And then the 2025 fees, what are those?
Those are our current fees. Sorry, how do I explain this? The fee per unit due, those were the original DIF fees back in 2006.
Oh, okay. So we've escalated those fees to these figures?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. It's usually by a very small percentage. CCI usually changes 1 to 2% maybe. Sometimes it goes negative. This last January it went negative 0.3. So we had to apply that reduction as well.
Okay. So we have it's set up with the
CCI,
Yeah.
yes.
set
Yeah.
up to.
Yeah, every year we review all of these fees
To
and
adjust.
adjust it by that amount. So it's a gradual increase instead of us having to go back and do a new rate, not a rate study, do a new evaluation of those DIF fees that could potentially make them escalate quickly. So
like on the item number 4.2-1,
Mhm.
it like acquisitions, it says it's 5 acres, 300,000,
Mhm.
and currently it would be 613.80.
correct.
Okay. Now, do we have these in a fund? We put those in a fund?
Yes, these are all in their own individual fund.
Okay.
Yep.
So what do we do with that fund?
So for example, if you go to page, and I don't have the full packet, so I don't know what page number it is, it will be attachment number 3, like 2 pages past that.
Thank you. I'll get there in a minute.
Keep going, John. One more. There it is. I do have it. I just don't have the page number. It's page 41. So if you go to page 41,
49, thanks, Paul. 41.
so
Oh, that's even better. Hey, Emily, I apologize.
no worries, you're fine. So this tells you exactly what fees were collected during the fiscal year and what fees were expended and for what items. So for example, public facilities, we collected $97,229 and we expended all of those on the debt servicing of the police station. As you can see, we have some ending balances. So example for streets, we have an ending balance of 116,000. We will keep collecting on that. And then when we have a appropriate project to put towards in streets, we can use those funds to do that. So for example, if we got a grant and we needed to match funds, we could use these funds to match that grant if needed.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, I will open up the public hearing and accept public comment. Is there any public comment? There is no public comment. So I will close the public hearing and bring it back to the council for deliberation and action. So do I have any discussion on this?
No.
Mr.
I
Davis?
think all my questions were answered by Eldridge, and I appreciate that very much.
Okay,
And so I would be obliged to make this motion. I
Okay.
move the resolution of the city council for the city of Yreka approving the annual development impact fee report and updating the city's capital improvement plan and development impact fee program.
thank you.
Council Middleton, I'll second.
Middleton. All right, so I have a recommended motion to approve City Council Resolution 2025-47 of the City of Yreka's approving the Development Impact Fee Report and updating the city's capital improvement plan and development impact fee program. Will the clerk please take a roll call vote?
All those in favor of approving resolution 2025-47, please signify by saying aye. Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Councilmember McCoy,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton, and Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes.
Okay. Item number 11, city business. Mayor Colleen Baker. This is a discussion of the volunteer firefighter length of service award. And at the October 21st meeting, Phil Anzo made a request of the council to consider a length of service award for volunteer firefighters. So I am bringing his request to the council for consideration. The state of California currently has a volunteer firefighter length of service award program, which is administered by California State Firefighters Employee Welfare Benefits Corporation. And further, the state of California has determined that this program is not a retirement benefit and is not administered through CalPERS. The purpose of the length of service program is that it serves as an incentive for volunteer firefighters to stay in their positions long-term. I believe it's critical that the city does all within its power to retain volunteer firefighters, as retention is cost effective. Constant recruitment and training for new volunteers can be a financial drain on city resources. And it is beneficial to the citizens of Yreka and Yreka Fire Department to have experienced volunteers. I am asking the council to consider this item and to direct staff to research the length of service award for volunteer firefighters and provide the council with options to implement the program, including the development of eligibility criteria using the state, and then an option to either use the state program or administer a local program. So I will open it up for discussion. And again, I'm just asking the council if the council as a whole wants to proceed with asking staff to look into this. Mr. McCoy?
I know that at one point in time, there is a committee that we pay $100, I think after you've served so many years, 20 or 30 years. And that's where this first came up. And that was back when Jason was still our city manager. And at that point in time, we as a council decided, we didn't want to go there for a number of reasons. Number one, because we were worried about, our attorney was very worried about it being a benefit and maybe even hurting some of our firefighters that work for government jobs. I was surprised, to see this back on here, because I thought that this is something we had discussed. At this point in time, under that particular auspice, from what I can tell, I talked to 4 or 5 of the volunteer firefighters. Some approached me and I approached some. Basically what it was $100 a month, and it was a committee that met and talked about the safety of Yreka. However, the committee, by all rights, depending on who I listened to, hadn't met for 5 to 7 years. So they were pulling in a check for that. And then the committee did say, we understand this really is more than getting the money for being on the committee. It's for serving the 20 or 30 years. I forget what it was. It might have been 30 years. And although when Phil Anza spoke to us, I appreciated what he had to say. And I thought he was talking about, we're talking about service award. We're talking about, we do plaques for employees, from that work 20 or 30 years for us. And we do it for outgoing employees, outgoing volunteers as well, and council persons. So that is what I got from Phil, and I hadn't had the chance to talk to Phil. But at this point in time, for me, what I see is, honestly, we are trying to pull off a big project here. We're trying to hire 6 firefighters full-time, along with, we have a full-time fire chief there. We're trying to build a state-of-the-art building, fire hall for them, because the current fire hall, and I've heard this for, I'm the new kid on the block here. I've only lived here 40 years, so I'm the flatlander. But I've heard it probably for 30 years. We got to have a bigger fire hall, and a better one. And they're right, they do. They need to have. There's lots of stuff they need. I would rather look forward than look back. For me, I think our office right now has a ton of things that they're working on that they try to do. I'm not belittling firefighters. I appreciate all they do. 40 years ago, they ambulance responded for my father's heart attack, and a couple of firefighters along with the ambulance with Daryl Frost. But I think we need to be looking forward. I think we need to be looking at, whatever money we were going to spend, if we're going to put it in with the state one, or if we were going to try to do our own. If we're doing our own, you got to administer it. That's going to cost a lot of time in the office as well. And I would like to look forward and get our 6 firefighters hired, get our building torn down, and get some construction going on. I'd like to see our fire hall up within about 3 years. I think we can do that. So I would establish that at this point in time, it's not something that I would be interested in, with all due respect.
Okay. All right. I think before I move forward with receiving more comments, I should probably open this up for public comment. So I will go ahead and open it up for public comment at this time.
Good evening. Rick Dean, 326 Herzog Boulevard. Volunteer firefighter, 25 years. And Paul, the number is 20 years. What you speak of. I've been saddened by this, quite frankly, and disappointed for the people I voted for here, because at the time that the board was dissolved, Mr. McCoy, you've known myself for many years. You know Mr. Shaw for many years, Mr. Mallory, and also Tim Pope, the three people. Did you reach out to speak to them, to converse about this issue before you voted on it and denied it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is.
Anyway, I'm very disappointed that there was no outreach to our firefighters. You all have been to Christmas parties for many years. No conversation whatsoever. It's clearly not a retirement conversation at all. It's one paragraph, doesn't speak about retirement at all. And as I had a personal conversation with you, really is a spit in the face of gentlemen that served this city for many years. There was basically a promise established through the city council prior to you. And that you're not honoring that one piece of, I mean, you threw the whole thing out, right? For three individuals, they're on the advisory board. And personally, I met several times with former city managers to discuss issues with the fire department. I didn't officially get on to the advisory board. So didn't go through the process, didn't understand it. Usually Mr. Mallory took care of that and it was over and done. That said, to have an incentive for firefighters to stay long-term is definitely an advantage. It's something that should be employed, basically. Now, I would employ you to look at this from a retroactive aspect, not cut it off at the knees, and honor those individuals that served many years for you, dedicated many, many hours, had very little cost, huge benefit to the city of Yreka. And to feel it all, Mr. Davis, you know all of us. Been in your shop for many years. Yeah. So the same goes for you, sir. You didn't reach out to any of us to have a conversation at all. That probably didn't even speak to any of your constituents about it. It was just taking it, oh, this is not an issue that it's a retirement conversation. So yeah, no, null and void, over and out. I fear that city of Yreka is losing the soul. This is a soulful conversation about pride, about doing what's right, staying on the high road. He took the low road here. And when I'm on that conversation, same thing with the high school parade. Why are we charging them permit fees? Are they not part of the community? You know, I would take a look internally and try to look at a practical position of what your constituents would want. I'll just leave it at that.
Is there any other public comment?
Tim Shaw, retired fleet manager, City of Yreka. 20 plus years with the Yreka Volunteer Fire Department, 13 years with Montague. Just doing a little bit of research, there's well over 500 cities in the state of California that are given the lengthy service award. And we're not, like Rick said, we're not talking a lot of money, and the money is really not the point. We're retaining volunteer firefighters, and we're giving them something back. And as far as the advisory board goes, there's no set meetings. There's not a secretary. There's not a president or anything like that. We were there for, if somebody asked, we'd go talk to them. I've talked to the previous city manager before. It's just we just served the community the best we could, and this is what they gave us. And then just to have it chopped off, there was only 3 of us on it at the time. And then the guys that are right behind us, they're going to lose out as well. So whether they even stay around or not, that's the whole point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to shed a little light on this from my perspective as chief, but I want to speak to you as, sorry.
Madam Mayor, point of order, can we determine whether the chief is speaking as the chief or whether he's speaking as a former volunteer firefighter or as a citizen? We need to determine what his role is here, because this is highly doesn't happen a lot.
So, Chief Lemus, will you be speaking to us tonight
I'm speaking.
as the fire chief?
I'm speaking to you as a citizen of Yreka and a former volunteer firefighter of more than 20 years. So, is that okay?
But not as the chief.
Not as the chief.
Okay,
If that helps.
thank you. Thank you.
So I just, listening to this and I just wanted to make sure that it's understood that, this, some of the diff that we talked about is one thing that was something that will help the city going forward. We went around to service groups, service clubs in preparation for the November 24 election, telling all the different service clubs, myself and former city manager Jason Ledbetter, through that process, they were told that, we're always going to need volunteers. And I truly believe that, we have some good things happening right now with paid staff coming on, and that's wonderful, but we're always going to need those volunteers to augment the response on fires and other emergencies. And so without an incentive going forward, I fear that potentially that could lose some of those people that are, thinking, well, I'm at 10 or 15 years, am I going to stick around that long? Or I think some of the things that I've learned in my years as a volunteer is the people that do stay on longer period of time tend to be the heart and soul and the core of the fire department. And anything we can do to help that going forward, I think if we're looking forward, as it was put earlier, I think that's an important factor. It's to consider, what are you going to have for volunteers? And anything you can do, whether it's, just a pat on the back, sure, that's fine. This is one more way that you can retain those folks. That was the whole intent of this initially, my understanding anyway. And it was impressed upon us as new volunteers that this was out there. But it was, it's been in place for many, many years, as far as I know. Excuse me. So I think it's important just to get this move forward and at least get the information out to the council so they can make an informed decision. And if there's any other questions you have, I'm always, available for those types of, historical questions that I'm aware of anyway. But I just wanted to press upon you that it's important that we make sure the volunteers are continuing to serve, because we're going to need them no matter how many, what the goal is for paid staff. Because, when they're sick, we need to fill in. We need to have those folks to do that. So thank you for your time.
Any other public comment? If not, I will close public comment and then bring it back to the council. And again, I just want to reiterate that my request is not to approve this program at this time. It's just to give city staff direction to look into it, to bring us back a report to see if it's something that is feasible for us to be able to do. So, Mr. Elsnab, before we begin our discussion, did you have anything you wanted to add to this?
I don't have anything to add.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to bring it back now to council for discussion. Mr. Middleton?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was unaware that this even existed until about 4 months ago, or whenever Mr. Ledbetter left, that he brought this to my attention. So I had no idea this committee existed, nor that I knew, and maybe it's different fire departments. So excuse my ignorance up here, that a volunteer was rewarded for being a volunteer. That a volunteer, you go to do your service for free, you walk away with a handshake, maybe a plaque and a job well done, and and you were done. I didn't know that. You got to get funds from a company or a government continuing on just because you've been there for so long. So I was a little taken back that the city was spending money, and that's what comes with audits in our finance committee, and we have people look at what is being spent on. We've had to make some cuts from other organizations, from other nonprofits. It's just a way of looking how we're going to move forward as a city and be fiscal responsible. And I'm not taken away from anybody that has spent years at the fire department. By all means, please do not leave here tonight thinking I'm dismissing your service at the fire department. I've known several people, grew up with their kids that volunteered for years and years and years and years. A lot of them were staples down there. We haven't been invited for several years at the Christmas party for the fire department, but going along the wall, looking at all my friends' dads up there, a lot of them passed away, which is sad, but looking at their times of service, times they left during dinner or whatever, it's not unrecognized by me at all, because I know being over at their houses and them getting calls. So please don't take that away from my comments. But I think it's worth looking into. Whether I support it or not, that's here or there. I don't know, because I don't know much about it. I just found out about it. And so I need more information. I would be willing to vote tonight. I would abstain with lack of information. So I need to make sure it comes back and we really review it. And then I can have time to have conversations with the community or the volunteers, because because I didn't know it was going to be made a political spectrum of it. And but here we are. And so that's my comments, but I would like to come back in a few months, not now, not anytime in the future. I think we need some time. Our staff is buried right now. And I would say 6 months, we could review it. That would be my request or my comments. Thank you, Ms. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Davis.
I have a comment. Is that what you want?
Yes. Comments.
All right. I've been approached by several more mature firefighters per se. And their concern is the stipend was quite nice, and it was geared to be between 60 and 70, and it wasn't geared to be a retirement, because I think it was $1,500 a year. And it was taxed, and it was all bona fide. So, and they were disappointed that it was removed. Probably one of them told me they maybe not enough forethought into it. We didn't research that enough. So I'm in favor of this right here that you have written down, Colleen. So.
May I ask a question, Mr. Davis, to just clarify? You said not researched well enough. Are you saying we as a council didn't research it? Or are you saying when it was originally placed in the language that it wasn't researched?
The staff will research it and bring something back to us.
Yes.
Like she's suggesting right here.
Yes, I'm trying to ask. You said
we may have not have had enough forethought into this, because when it came, it just came. Or at least that's what I think. I'm sorry, Paul. Okay.
Any other comments, Mr. Davis?
Nope.
Okay, thank
Good.
you. So I'm just speaking for myself that when we moved forward with the reorganization of the fire department, one of the things that was in the paperwork, and forgive me, I believe it was the ordinance or I'm not sure if it was an ordinance or a resolution, but it was mentioned that the fire advisory board would be dissolved. And I was not aware of what that advisory board was. And when I questioned the former city manager, he said, oh, it was really no big deal. We couldn't really find a lot of records on it. We don't really know what their purpose was. And so for me, it, excuse me, it was just kind of presented to me that it was no big deal. And so immediately when the city council took action to adopt the ordinance, I started receiving phone calls from long-term firefighters that said, "Hey, why did you do this?" And I just have to fess up to the fact that I was not aware of what the Fire Advisory Board was doing. I wasn't aware of the stipend that they were receiving. And so I guess this is an option that the city council can choose to have staff look into as an alternative to that. There are other fire departments throughout the state of California that offer this. And honestly, I don't know what type of funding we're looking at because I can't, any one of us does not have the authority to go to the city manager and say, "Hey, I want you to look into this." And so that's why I'm bringing up before the council, do we even want to have the city manager or his designee even look into this and bring us a report back? So what are the desires of the council?
One more question, Madam Mayor, sorry.
Sure.
So if we do bring it back, and forgive me, there was a lot of stuff going on during the ordinances in the fire department. So if we approve that, then we'd have to go back and change the ordinance. And I believe so. Yeah, because we have to make amendment to that ordinance of that being removed because we approved it. So it'd probably have to come back, correct? If we decide to go forward and bring it back to the,
Depending on the program, I'd have to consult with the city attorney,
Okay.
whether it can be an ordinance update or a resolution update, and look at all the options.
so it's not an easy task and it's not going to be solved in 6 months. It could take a year.
I think there's going to be quite a bit of research, whether it's internal, external, the state program. It'll take some time to evaluate all that.
Thank you.
Then you are bringing, regardless of what we do, the one thing we as a council have to remember is that we're trying to build a fire hall and a
Right.
fire department. Because for years now, these guys have been working, they're going on 1,000 calls a year, and we can't expect them to do that, and they told us that, and their chief has told us that. As long as I've heard it every 4 or 7 years I've been on council, my guys can't go out on calls. My question then is looking forward. How do we mix this? Because it's my understanding, and I'm gonna ask if you have a city attorney weigh in on the legality. We don't want to put financial burden on them where they're gonna be paying more taxes, or perhaps losing money out of their telephones, which could very well happen. It does happen in education. We're going to be changing the way we operate the fire department. We're going from a all volunteer to a full-time paid fire department with not quote unquote volunteers, but reserves like we do with the police department. So that even the pay there would probably be different, the way they're paid at that point in time. So, the other thing is, with all due respect to Rick and Tim Pope and some of the ones that have been here, for 20 and 30 years, with all due respect, then, where do you cut it off? How do you make that segue? That kind of thing, because there's going to be, I know that there's a, for a call-up charge, I think you get paid a minimal amount by the city. Do you know how much it is?
I believe it's $13.50. $3 goes back to the nonprofit, and $10.50 goes to the volunteer.
Yeah, and I'm going to assume, looking at Lieutenant Dirksen, that the reserves make far more than that. And I'm going to assume that would be the same thing with the firefighter. So we have to meld all that together. Again, that's where I think even if we go back and do it, I don't think it's going to be less than 6 months. I would give it a year to try and get it, but I don't know what is our city attorney.
Mr. Jared, did you have any comments on this? Mr. McCoy had some questions.
Yeah, I mean, what's before you tonight is not what happened in the past. It's about a request to do analysis on another different program and to bring that back by March 31st, 2026. That would largely be a staff analysis. There would be some aspect of it that would be legal analysis, but I don't see an impediment to a March 2026 return date on either staff or my time.
Thank you.
If I may, I would just, I would support bringing it back if we go April 30th. I think we need to have another month,
Oh,
just because the holidays and everything, if that would be okay with the rest of council and you, Ms. Smith, Mayor.
okay.
Mr. Elstab, may I ask you a question? You have the staff to do it now by March 2026? I mean,
April.
You-
Yeah,
you-
going for April, but
Our staff,
you're,
I believe, is at full capacity. We are shorthanded. We have numerous projects we're working on. They are all important, including the fire department, including the police department, public works. That's something I'm concerned about every day is how much we can push our staff to capacity. There's a lot that the public doesn't see. There's a variety of projects that are extremely important that are ongoing. So I will do my best to absolutely prioritize, but it's a major concern of mine, being honest.
you have any idea on cost?
April 30th.
Any, just a ballpark on it at this point in time?
Because
Not-
the program is new, I don't know what the state funding, I haven't done extensive research into this, so I haven't talked to other departments that have it and how they've set it up and administered it, so I would have to spend some time on it.
And that again is the item that I'm bringing before the council
Yeah.
is to, do we want to direct him to spend time on it? So,
Again, I would, but with an extension, maybe now April 30th. Way he's talking, I'm sorry,
yeah.
but
So, and that,
April.
you know, I just chose that,
April.
Are you ready for action now?
that time
Have we
frame.
discussed it enough?
Action, not an action, strictly discussion, looks like to me.
So, the only action that I'm looking for is just the next step forward, which is to direct staff to bring us back a staff report. And what I'm hearing is that the time frame is a little bit hard to swallow. So we can take that time frame out if that is going to make the council and staff more comfortable. But I mean, I really would like to see this researched so that at least we know we're educated and at least we know what we're looking at if this is something that we want to consider in the future.
Do you have any idea why this wasn't researched like 10, 20 years ago, whenever this started? Why?
You know, I don't even know if it existed, Mr. McCoy. I mean, we had the fire advisory board, and in the limited research that I did, and I'm not a legal beagle, but at one time this program was administered through CalPERS to various fire departments, and I think it was like within the last 4 years, CalPERS took a step back from it and said this really isn't part of a retirement. So that's why this organization took it on. But those are all questions that could be answered if we have staff look into it.
We were to say no to August. Let them have to lock. I'm
Yeah.
looking at the four of you.
I'm fine with that.
We know we have a lot on the plates.
Right.
A lot on your plates right now. And the one thing is, here's the deal. I'm comfortable with doing it if we turn to John and say, John, put the fire hall in the back burner. Don't even work on it for the next 4 or 5 months till you get this done. Or put the swimming pool plans on the back burner. or, some of the bigger, we have some large projects. Put the FHR on the back burner. We don't need to worry about it. Just let it go for 4 or 5 or 6 months. If we lose that $3 million, we lose it. So, I mean, I would agree with that, but if we're gonna add something, we do need to take it away. We need to take something away off of Juliana and John's plate and, Melissa. Because I'm gonna assume that those are the three they're gonna be running of the lifting.
So I'm in favor for direction for the August 30th, 2026 deadline to bring it back. If
Got
that,
a motion?
sure, I'll make the motion.
Well, it's not.
Oh, do we have to make a motion?
I see that.
Oh,
If you have 45, Paul, page 45.
the
Yeah.
recommended city council action motion to direct city manager to research.
Okay, now, this is the first time we've seen it. I've been told, I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been told, we don't do, and I've talked to you about this before, we don't introduce something and do an action at the same time, unless it's an absolute emergency. Is this, that's what I've been told, I'm a colleague.
Sir Jared,
So,
Me-
no, this is about Mr. Chair, this is about what.
I haven't heard that
my colleagues
before.
Have said to me.
I haven't heard that before.
Yeah, and
I've heard it in these chambers.
and
So, and I've talked to John about it because I'm concerned, I'm sorry. Shut.
okay.
I don't
So-
doubt you a bit, Paul. I don't doubt it.
It's my understanding that the process for city council members to bring something to request staff to look into something, it has to come to city council as a whole for city council to give direction, not one individual council member. And so that's what I'm doing this evening. I'm only asking that we agree that we would like staff to research this issue and bring us back a report August 30th of 2026 or August 31st. Or no time frame.
I was going by what it says here, so
Yeah.
I don't know if I can.
Madam Mayor,
The agenda was
Yes.
approved.
I think that what Councilmember McCoy might be talking about, and he can correct me if I'm wrong here, is the council rule or ordinance that says when a council member is putting something on the agenda, it comes the first time to the council with the question of, should we put this on the agenda to discuss the matter? And then it's put on a vote is taken, shall we even discuss this matter? Is that what you were talking about, Mr. McCoy?
Pure and simply put, I have been told by this council over the last year that yes, they can put something can be put on. I can put something on the agenda, but it cannot be voted on that night it has to come back for a second time after we discuss it. And I've been told that, and I can go back through tapes to find it, but I'm just trying to be consistent because we do not have and have never had in my 7 years and 6 weeks on the council, we have never had a policy or a protocol for putting something on the agenda. We've talked about it. We've talked about how we'd like to see it done, but again, it's not there, and it's not part of any protocol that's written, and it's not part of any protocol for the code of conduct, I guess. So that's all I'm saying. Now, if we're not voting on it tonight, if we're just giving direction, that would be different, I guess, wouldn't it? Or is that not acceptable?
Don't exactly know what you're asking there.
Yeah.
Kind of a mixed statements. So my understanding I think there is a code on this. I'm trying to look it up as we're going along here.
Yeah.
There is in fact policy of placing something on the agenda by city council members. And it's either done by the city manager, the city attorney, the city clerk. The mayor can place something on the agenda. And then if it's a council member placing something on the agenda, it comes first with the question of, shall we discuss this item? And there was recently a couple meetings back where something was brought, I believe it was by Councilmember Middleton, to discuss an item. And indeed, he wrote the report. It was put on the agenda. It was discussed by council. Shall we discuss this matter? And you all voted on that. I think that's where what you're talking about of being told consistently that you can't quote unquote vote on it that evening. What you're voting on is to vote to discuss the matter in that context. Here, it's a little differently. Here, this was placed on by the mayor to take action to give direction to staff. Council, shall we direct staff to bring back a report in the future? So I think that it's an appropriate report. I think there's appropriate action. And amongst the four of you, if there's a majority that does give direction to staff, meaning 3 of 4, that gives direction to staff to bring this back, it would come back in whatever time frame you wish. If there aren't 3 votes to bring it back, then the item dies.
Giving direction to staff is different than having an action item, is what I'm saying. And I think what I'm hearing you say is it's not. It's the same thing.
Giving direction to staff is action.
Okay. So again, my contention is that we don't give action the first time we see something, unless it is something that we've done that is of the utmost importance and it has a deadline.
I don't understand where that's coming.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so with that, I'm going to make the motion to direct the city manager and his designee to research the feasibility in implementing the length of service award for the Yreka volunteer fire departments, including implementation through the California State Firefighters Employee Welfare Benefits Corporation, CSFEWBC, or at a level identified potential costs of the program and program eligibility, with a report back to the city council no later than, that's a change of date, August 30th, 2026.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Middleton, second by Councilmember Davis, to direct the interim city manager or his designee to research the feasibility of implementing a length of service award for Yreka volunteer firefighters, including implementation through the California State Firefighters Employee Welfare Benefits Corporation, or at a local level, identify potential costs of the program and program eligibility, with a report back to the council no later than August 30th, 2026. All right, will the clerk please take a roll call vote?
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Councilmember Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember McCoy.
I'm going to fall back here on what I was taught in training at California League of Cities, and that is you have an aye vote, you have a no vote. When you abstain, it means you don't have enough information. And what the attorneys told us down there is when you don't feel you have enough information, you don't vote yes. So because of that, I will not abstain, but I will vote no on this for lack of information.
Councilmember Middleton.
Aye.
Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, item 11B, the Assistant City Manager. This is the introduction and first reading of proposed amendments to section 2.20.020 membership appointment terms vacancy of the City of Yreka Planning Commission. Good evening, Ms. Lucchese.
Good evening. Thank you. This will be very short since we have discussed this previously. So a couple meetings ago, the city council gave direction to city staff to suspend the planning commission for a year as we go through and restructure the planning commission as well as our application process. We will be presenting a work plan on that project at the January meeting of the city council, the second meeting since the first one is canceled. That is not on the agenda today, so that will be back to you later. But in the interim, the city attorney had identified a section of our municipal code that needed some additional language, which would allow us to process planning commission applications in a timely manner without a planning commission seated. And so just for the general public, the City of Yreka Planning Commission has had membership issues. We are actually currently at 0 planning commissioners. All of our planning commissioners have either had to resign for other reasons or have moved out of the area. So at this point, what we're recommending is there is a section of language on the bottom of page, I believe 46 of your packets, that essentially says in the event that an insufficient number of commissioners are seated on the planning commission due to vacancies, recusals, absence, or other factors, and therefore the planning commission is unable to achieve quorum due to insufficient number of members presently appointed, the city council as a whole shall resume the duties and responsibilities of the planning commission. Any planning commissioners appointed during that period shall have no authority or duties as planning commissioner until such time the city council is able to approve the number of members to return the planning commission to its full membership. Actions taken by the city council while serving in the capacity of planning commission shall be final and not subject to appeal rights established by state law or local ordinance to the city council. So I'm just going to break that down really quick for you, what that means. Essentially, this is language that we needed in the municipal code generally in case certain things happen. We did have a circumstance where we got down to 3 planning commissioners for an item because of recusals or other issues with an application previously. And so this essentially allows us if, for example, 4 out of the 5 have a personal relationship, it's a small town, it happens, or a financial gain. This would also allow the city council to step in and serve as the approving body for that planning action. Additionally, the language in here speaking about appointments and no authority until appointment, that essentially is language that allows us to process planning applications in the event that you don't have a quorum, but you have people applying, but they haven't been appointed yet. It allows us to essentially interim do that in the future as well. So it doesn't strip the planning commission as a whole of its powers. It just essentially is a stopgap when we do not have enough membership to be able to adequately review planning commission items. So specifically conditional use permits, tentative parcel maps. It's those types of items that we would be kind of concerned with processing on a timely basis. We do have statutory limits to processing that requires us to process in a certain amount of time after we receive an application. And so this allows us to utilize the city council to serve in that role if we do have an issue with membership and quorum. Finally, typically there are appeal rights of planning commission decisions to the city council. And so the last sentence essentially is clarity for applicants or individuals who would like to appeal a decision of the city council, which, as you know, an appeal of the city council would then go through the judicial system. So bless you. And so that last sentence essentially just establishes that there would be no other remedy outside of a city council decision in this type of circumstance. So that is the language that we've presented for you today. The city attorney has reviewed the language and is happy with it. And so we are requesting that you approve the introduction of the first reading. The language is also statutorily exempt from CEQA because it's not a project, it's an administrative action. And open it for questions.
Thank you. Does council have any questions?
Do we have any planning commissions as we speak?
No, we have no planning commissioners.
So is there a plan to, I know we want to maintain the planning commission.
Yes. Yeah. So we will be bringing back a work plan at your second meeting in January, which essentially will outline the different tasks we will be doing to implement to essentially address, why are we having issues with planning commission membership? What are some things that worked in the past? So we're planning to do interviews with previous commissioners, do interviews with the city council. And so our planning manager will present that work plan to you in terms of the scheduling of all of those tasks at your January meeting. But this is essentially an item that needed to come before you sooner because it would establish a process that we would be allowed to implement while we are retooling the planning commission for you.
Basically what you're doing is you want permission to use the council as your planning commission.
Mm-hmm. until we've seated an adequate number of commissioners.
You're asking for permission or you're letting us know that that is a state requirement?
So it is it's a state requirement to have a planning agency, so you do need someone. So, but per your ordinances, that planning commission serves as that planning agency. And so there are certain applications in your municipal code that require you to utilize your planning commission, but there's no language in your municipal code to state that if you don't have enough quorum of your planning commission, then what do we do? So this essentially solves that issue, is that essentially gives us some stopgap language to go, oh, in case of emergencies, pull this lever type thing. And so it doesn't negate the planning commission as a whole. It essentially just gives us a stopgap until we have retooled it and have essentially gotten planning commissioners for you to appoint.
Thank you for the explanation.
Yep.
All right, if there's no other questions from the council, I'll open it up at this time for public comment.
Lorenzo Love. I want to remind the council that the reason we don't have any planning commissioners is that the city refused to advertise vacancies on the planning commission. If the vacancies had been advertised as they occurred, you wouldn't have this problem. But it just went lost. People would resign or move. Nothing was done about it. This is a problem entirely of the city's creation. Just as the Fire Department Longevity Award is a problem entirely of the city's creation. Just as the homeless crisis, which you're trying hard to ignore, is a problem entirely of the city creation. You need to take more proactive steps to keep things like this from happening. And regardless of what you do, if you don't advertise for vacancies, you're not going to get any applicants.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? I'll close public comment and bring it back to the council for discussion and action.
Council Middleton, I will make the recommended city council action motion to introduce the first reading and waive full reading of an ordinance amending section 2.20.020 membership appointment in terms vacancy of the Yreka Municipal Code and set the second reading for the city council on December 2nd, 2025.
I'll second the motion. So we do have a motion on the floor, a motion by Councilmember Middleton, second by Councilmember Baker. And will the clerk please take a roll call vote?
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Councilmember Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember McCoy.
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton. Councilmember Baker.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion passes.
All right. So we'll move on to 11F. This is the city manager staff reports.
Good evening, council. John Elsnab, interim city manager. Couple updates for the council tonight. Positive news, we're planning to close escrow early next week on the new fire hall. We'll be working with the escrow company. We've completed and fixed the technical bugs at the community theater with the alarm system, so we're fully operational. Looking to utilize that. We have one firefighter that onboarded last week named David McKinnon, and we have another fire engineer who will start, I believe, the following week.
These are
Full-timers. So that brings us to a total of 3 while we wait for the approval of the SAFER grant, which will also help with staffing, long-term staffing. We filled a seasonal public works position, which helps with the trash route and cleaning of the parks. That's positive. And the 2 park hosts have started. at Greenhorn Reservoir. We received notification from NMR Engineering down in Reading that we're at 90% completion for the fire hall construction and design plans. So we're making positive movement on that. A reminder, we have our Friends of the Library, Siskiyou County Library I believe it's at our next meeting in December. And we have, I think this is positive, one police cadet who will be attending the COS Police Academy that the city will be sponsoring. With that said, that's all I have for tonight for updates.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Elsnaff? Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other staff reports?
I believe that concludes our staff reports for the month.
Thank you. All right, so item 11G, which is the mayor council member reports, statements and requests. I'll start with Councilmember Davis.
The Fire Safe Council will meet December 9th.
Thank you. Councilmember McCoy.
I would like to thank Lieutenant Dirksen and YPD. I made a call to them on last Friday night, I think it was. We have streets that are just, if you haven't driven them, we have streets that are blocked off, Lenox, Yama, Fairchild, North, and they're blocked off at night. And the utility crews are working in the dark. And I pulled up within 20 foot of a flagger who had no flashlight, who had a vest on, but nothing. And I went ahead and I didn't bother you because I knew you were gone. So, and I ended up calling this YPD at that time and just to apprise them and let dispatch know. And when I talked to dispatch, she was very helpful. And she said, I'm not sure what to do or something like that. And I said, if you just want to call Public Works, let them know. Now they're working with lights out there. They're still blocking. They're blocking off multiple streets. It's a different way every time I leave my house during the day. But I have taken, just so you know, and I haven't saying to you, I don't like to, I have taken complaints from residents, not necessarily on my block, but other blocks that are having trouble getting in and out of those places. I know that the fire department would not be able to get in. Not when you have 9 trucks parked in a 4-house area and 4 of them are 5-ton, booms. So, but I mean, I'm trusting that maybe PP&L is going to have this done, and maybe that if they do it again, we're not the only ones it's happening to. South County, they're getting complaints. Fort Jones is getting complaints that PP&L is not communicating. People are saying, they can't get out of their driveway to go to work, and they're going an hour or 2 hours late because they can't move the trucks while they're dragging wire. So I do want to thank you, Pat, and Lieutenant, I'm sorry, and whoever was on that night. I didn't recognize her, but she did a great job. And you guys, somebody must have gotten out there because you sent them all home. I got a call later that we sent them home, I do want to, I do want to ask that we go ahead and put homeless on for a meeting. This is where I usually don't get a ton of calls from people, but I'm getting a ton of businesses on Minor, Broadway, and Main Street that are talking to me, probably 8 or 9 so far, about the homeless that are sleeping in the parks, big and small, the homeless that are sleeping and staying all day in front of their businesses, and the homeless that are just around on the streets down there. And it is pretty, we know who it is. It's our frequent flyers. We know who it is. And I'm thinking that we passed a no camping ordinance, this council did. And I think we need to work with our city manager, because it's not incumbent upon him. It's incumbent upon us as to how much we want it enforced. So I know they can be there between certain times during the day, but they can't be there at night. And perhaps what we need to do is work with them, and then also let our district attorney know that we're going to, what we're going to do, because I know our district attorney does not like to prosecute anybody, unless it's major. They kind of seems like they let it slip. But I would like to get on the agenda to have, I'd like to have Tasha come and talk to us about the homeless, a short presentation, 5 to 10 minutes. And then I'd like for this to be a discussion only item for us to talk about what we see, what the city sees as their roles. I mean, we know that it's a jello thing, that when you squeeze them out of wherever they're going, that they're gonna like jello through your fingers, they're gonna go wherever. And we've gotten them off the hill, and it looks like we're gonna get a grant to clean up the rest of the hill. But we need to figure out what we're gonna do in town. So that's why I'm asking for it, you know, and I'd like it to be discussion to begin with, and then kind of figure out maybe over a 2 or 3 meeting period, what we feel as a council, what our responsibility is to the businesses, community, and the people. I mean, I know I've got them up in my neighborhood, sleeping in the, you know, but they've been up there for a year and a half, sleeping in the alleys and stuff like that. So that's all I'm going to ask. And I do want to thank the volunteer firefighters for your time. The information that I go on is just from what I've been told by volunteer firefighters. So, you know, I'd be glad to talk to you again. Rick, you and I talked a lot. But I just, that's where I'm coming from at this point in time. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Middleton?
Sure. Thank you, Madam. Let's see. And at the COC, just to piggyback on Councilman McCoy, I did have a COC meeting since last. Oh yeah, thanks for reminding me. Lorenzo sat next to me. So since we did talk about the problems of transitioning, and I'm learning a lot by being on that board, listening to people who are being the devil's advocate for the unhoused, and learning a lot, you know. So in this transition of us getting off the hill, we knew there was going to be issues of them coming into the downtown area. I've talked to a property owner of Greenhorn today. They've been camping on a parcel City of Yreka owns. He has received complaints. They have been removed, but they're going to go up, be hidden. They're going to be in our creek area, and they're going to be in our downtown area, and that has happened. Due to the report from Alan Bryant, is that the 17 pallet shelter is full now. There was one occupancy that applicant applied for it. The base camp is running 32, 34 beds a night, almost capacity. So they're seeking shelter. You can tell they're getting there early because they are hanging out in front of the, shelter way before its opening time. So they're looking to get out of the cold. So we knew this was going to happen. And we are getting complaints from a residential area that has opened up their doors that for the qualified mentally ill and whatnot. I'm not going to mention, everybody probably knows the complex, but we've received complaints of several of them going after hours when the manager's not gone camping out, going to people's apartments that have a heart for the people who they got a home, but these people are still out on the streets in the cold. And we're getting complaints from those areas. So we have a lot of work to do. And so I agree with Councilman McCoy. What is the city's involvement? The county is going to do, Dr. Clark's involved, Supervisor Ogren's involved, Madeline Bryan's involved. We're all aware of these problems. And so that's where my voice is, I guess, sitting on that board, is where the city comes in. Of course, we're getting the bad rap at the meeting. I have to stick up why we did it. That was non-humane, that they lived on the hill. We're getting the bad rap that it was done. One person said like military style. I don't agree with that. I think it was done very well. I commend our police officers and YPD for what they did. They're very humane towards the citizens, but there has to be a balance as what's going to happen with the people who are not being housed. And there's several out there. And obviously we need more facilities like a more bed base camp. We need pallet shelter. Also, we need another lot that we need to have pallet shelters on. Because if we're 17 full already, and it was empty until after the hill, not empty, there was a few, but after the hill was vacated, then it was full. So that goes to show that we're in need more of the housing. So we know there's no money at the county, and there's no state funding right now. The federal cut a bunch of funds and housing and so programs. So what do? It relies on our YPD getting tons of calls And so how are we going to address that? And that's good that we're going to have that discussion. So thank you, Councilman McCoy. But that's what we did discuss about COC. I've heard a lot of great things about I don't know who they are, but the new people, staff, the couple at the Park Coast at Greenhorn. I drove through there a couple times. Every time I've been out there, they've been on their cart. So I think they're really fulfilling the position. People who frequent every day, I know, that say they see them every day, driving the cart, saying hi to people, really cleaning it up. So I heard good things. On a note, in Yreka, the big news today was the end of an era. The Pizza Hut building came down. I worked there as a teen, dating myself way, way back. And also had many lunches with my Minton Realtor crew, Bob Minton, Ray Singleton, and all them when I worked for Minton Realtors for a few years. We had lunch there quite often, at the salad bar and breadsticks and talk shop and life in Yreka. So it came down. So that was the big talk of the town, people with memories. So hopefully that'll be a good redevelopment use for the Spartan Incorporated who owns that property now. And hopefully he does something great with it or expands the dealership. Who knows what he's going to do, but I know he does great things. He's done great things in Ashland with development and housing, and he owns the radio station property. I know he has good plans for that. And I think he's a great business partner for the city. So we'll see what's next for the old Pizza Hut building, or that whole corner, I should say, because he's gonna own that. He owns that whole corner. Other than that, that's all I have. And thank you so much.
Thank you. So I actually just have a short report. I spent the last 2 weeks recovering from some kind of cold virus that's been going around. So I missed the C2C meeting, the Collier Interpretive Information Center meeting it was actually, I think it was last night. So I missed that meeting. But I do want to remind everybody that our assembly person, Heather Hadwick, is holding a town hall meeting here in the chambers on Thursday night, the 20th, beginning at 6 p.m. And the public's invited.
It'll be crowded. Sorry, I have a question. Is that gonna be crowded? Where do we sit?
Yeah, I don't.
Okay. Do we sit down here?
Yeah. Yeah, we can.
Because
We
if it's
can
gonna be
do whatever
if
we want.
it's gonna be full up there, I'd
So
rather have
anyway.
those seats for people, the citizens.
So
We can do what we want. Yeah, sure.
yeah. So that's actually all I have. So with that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 7:52.
Wow.
Corey, that's